This is a dumb assignment. I spent way too long thinking about Sean and his stupid face. Woke up in the morning thinking about Sean. Went to bed at night thinking about Sean. I hate this assignment. Then I thought, this is supposed to be about dad jokes. Sean as a dad? That is the joke.
Brian Santoro. More like crying Santoro, am I right?
Santoro? More like Scram Toro. Where is that guy? Where'd he go?
Sammy. His draft was not a whammy. Kelsey in the first? I think he has a hammy. What's been new? How's life as the expat? Heard you got married. Didn't know that. I'm glad you found the one. Does she know what she's done? Sammy. It's the battle of the Pleasant Hill. Up the hill versus down the hill. Should be quite the thrill. Rock fights and property fighting. Sometimes I'd be mad at you, but I'd always just fight Whitey. But it isn't too late for a battle, and it's time to face off. Lazard just scored a TD. He's on your bench, you weenie. But you know how this one's going to go, so I'll leave it to you, homie. I'm a whale and you are krill, your friend from down the hill.
Well, looks like it's rivalry week here, meaning we get to revisit the oldest rivalry in the league, PJ versus Monroe. Yet again, we get to answer the age-old question, can up the hill people come up on top of this one? Oh, hold on. Car? Where was I? You know what they call the 4:30 games in the Gonzo Camuso household? Past Dad's bedtime. Gonzo, I'm going to whoop your ass so bad this week, by the end of it, you're going to look worse than I do right now.
I'm going to sit right here.
Okay. And then what are you going to say?
Nothing.
Nothing.
Ball.
Ball.
That's his team.
Jesse's team. I'm a dad, and that's a joke.
That was funny.
You know why they call him Ben Wellborn? Because you're has-been. This is the new Wellborn. You prick.
Week 3 rivalry week. Every year this gets harder and harder. You know, you realize in life there's a lot that's really unimportant. But every year this makes me realize how important fantasy football really is. Getting together with this gaggle of guys, it really just hits home in week 3. And I just want to let my rival Pat Orr know that I really appreciate it every year, and you know, becoming a dad is just made me a real emotional guy. But week 3 always seems to kind of bring things together and make things real. I really appreciate what you got when it comes to fantasy football. Sometimes it's the only thing we got. So, to my rival Pat, good luck this week, because you're gonna fucking lose.
Hey, I don't know what asshole assigned us homework, but doing my part as well. I think I'm in like a real sweet spot for dad jokes because I got about 3 to 4 average hours of sleep a night this week. Looking like absolute shit. I scheduled my haircut 3 times and I've canceled every time, last minute. And I'm going for 4 on Saturday. And I wrote most of this at about 3 a.m., completely deprived of sleep. So I think I'm like really seeing the ball for dad jokes right now. So what I was thinking about is, why does Bryce have such a boring nickname? Like, he's an interesting guy. He's a funny guy. Why is his nickname so boring? It's Doodla. So I thought I'd ask league members, is this really his nickname, or do you have better nicknames that we just don't know about? And it turns out a bunch of them have unique nicknames that they came up with that we didn't know about. So I got to share some of those with you today. So I first asked Gonzo. I said to Gonzo, is there something that you call Bryce that's personal? And he said, we golf a lot together, and we actually, when we golf, we actually call him Slice Right instead of Bryce White. Slice Right. So that's how this is gonna work. So then I called Brian up, Dr. Brian. I said, hey, same thing. It's our good nickname. And he said, I have a funny story for you. Bryce actually flew out here and came to visit me, and we went out to sushi. And it was a super weird experience. So we said, do you like sushi? I love sushi. So we went out, and every single time they'd bring him something, he would send it back and say, no, I asked for it plain. Okay, so they give him a new one. He said, no, I wanted it plain. So they finally just realized that he wanted the fish off the sushi and just wanted it like a plain roll of rice, I guess. So Brian says that all of his friends actually called Bryce Rice White. And then, funny story, similar with food. I talked to Wavy, and he said that they went out to ice cream, and turns out Bryce had never had ice cream before, which is shocking. So they're like, you've never had ice cream? He's like, no, I've never tried it, never wanted to. I said, you gotta try it. You gotta try it for the first time. I said, all right, I'll try it. So he orders the ice cream and gets like a large, gets like a massive large. And an ice cream place, a large is like 6 scoops or whatever. Too much ice cream. So he gets the ice cream, and then he goes, okay, I'll try it. And like Joey Chestnut eating a hot dog, just went nuts on it. And they're like, whoa, it's really cold. It's gonna hurt. He's like, this is how I eat. Like a fucking rabid dog. And then he was like, my head, I hate ice cream. And he left. And so Wavy said him and his family actually all call him Ice Bite instead of Bryce White. And Verk has a similar story. I guess Bryce is just a menace in public, because Verk said that they went to Target together, him and Bryce. And they were walking down the aisles, and Bryce just wouldn't stop naming what he thought everything costs. He was like, $4, $10, $11.50. They were like, at first, okay, it's kind of funny. And then he just did it the whole time. And then even in the aisle checking out, where it's like candy bars, he's just going, $1, $1, $1, $1. And they were like, what is with him? So he says that Jen and him actually call him the Bryce is Right as a nickname. And I also found some pretty interesting information. There's only a couple more of these. I found some pretty interesting information about why Bryce lost his hair. And in a rivalry week video, I have to bring up that, even though I'm like just as bald, if not on my way. But I found out why Bryce lost his hair for the first time. So if you remember, Bryce actually had these flowing locks for a long time. And so Bart said that he talked to some of the parents of kids that went to Bryce's preschool. And they told this crazy story. So I guess there was like an outbreak at this preschool, and they had to shut the preschool down and send everyone home. And Bryce went up and was like, well, I'm a landscape architect. I'll clear the school out. I'll take care of it. And he went in and he spent like all weekend in the preschool, I don't know, doing who knows what. And he comes out and he's completely like, he comes back 2 weeks later. 2 weeks later, and so, after doing this, and the school's back open, and he's completely bald suddenly. And they're like, what happened? And he was like, well, I got it pretty bad after that. So that turns out everyone at the preschool now calls him Lice Plight. Lice Plight. And so this is where it gets a little weird. So James told me that he has a similar crazy story. So he was actually on vacation with Haley in Mount Olympus, up in Mount Olympus. And who did they run into but Bryce? And Bryce was just being like so obsessed with Zeus. It was like embarrassing. He was like all over him and everything Zeus did. He was like, oh, way to go, way to go. And Zeus would like lightning bolt and he'd be like, yeah, Zeus, yeah. And so James and Haley were like, oh my God, so embarrassing. So after that embarrassing display, James and Haley said that they kind of sarcastically refer to Bryce all the time as nice smite. Nice smite. So this is the last one. So Jesse said that he was down in the South visiting a prison. Jesse thinks, maybe there was like a prison wrestling match. So he was at this prison, and it's actually the prison where Mike Vick got incarcerated. And so he talked to some of the other inmates, and they said Bryce was like Mike Vick's right-hand man while he was there. I don't know why Bryce was there. Maybe he had like a vice citation or something like that. So they said that he was the right-hand man. He was setting everything up for Mike Vick. And so they said, Jesse was like, do you have a nickname for him? Do you call him something? And they said, oh yeah, we call him Mice Fights. So now I thought I need to come up with a better nickname, obviously. So, we're rivals. I went and took a look, and you haven't beaten me in rivalry week since 2019. So I don't know what the rivalry is exactly. One of us has won the league 2 times in a row, which no one else has done. But anyways, we're rivals. You've been outscored by over 100 since then, since your last time beating me in 2019. So I thought maybe I would call you No Fight, or maybe something like Your Shite, or maybe Try Tights, like join a ballerina fantasy league or something. All right, I'm going to bed.
Oh, hey sports fans, didn't see you there. Just too busy rocking in my rocking chair in September on my front porch. It's like 80 degrees out. Not a bad idea. Well, we don't have a lot of time for rivalry week these days. Gone are the days of 20-minute videos, me kicking a bunch of field goals, jumping into pools, Gonzo having Tuckerman run around didn't really make much sense. I guess he threw him a frisbee, but I could never really figure out why he did that, other than just because he likes Tuckerman. But dad jokes are pretty cool too. They're pretty fun, but I would love to add something else. So let's cook up a little dad joke Verk parlay. Well, what do we know about Verk? Verk's hairy, he's tall, and he's got that dumb Kia, I guess. It's pretty much the only redeeming, that's it. That's all you know about Verk. He's hairy, he's tall, and he's got a dumb Kia. So let's cook up a parlay. Anytime touchdown scorers: Marvin Harrison, Jalen Tolbert, Brenton Strange, Derek Carr. Harrison, Tolbert, Strange, Carr. Plus 28,000. Coincidentally, same odds as Verk, winning with that bag. See you, sports fans.
So, everyone knows James was an all-star collegiate soccer player for Babson. Fastest guy on the field, they say. Yet now, as an old man, he's limping along. He's not sprinting to the playoffs anymore. Does anyone know why? It's because James is stuck relying on a broken walker for success.
So, Bart walks into my office the other day and he says, you know Bart, right? Italian guy, always hot, sweaty. Makes you wonder if his favorite hobby is staying too close to pizza ovens. Anyway, he sits down, breathing heavy. He says, Wavy, I gotta talk to you, man, about fantasy football. I look at him and I say, Bart, you don't look so good, man. You look like J.D. Vance at a Bob's Furniture store. Bart goes, I know, it's bad. It's really bad. I thought this was my year, man. My team, I thought, they were going to be unstoppable. But here I am, barely 50-50, sweating more than usual. I'm going to get pummeled during rivalry week. I feel helpless. I'm just so damp. I nod, not saying anything, partly because that's how I have conversations, but also because it's just so cool in here. I couldn't be more comfortable. And this guy, he's dripping like Pat before an MCAS exam. Then Bart continues, you know what's the worst part, Wavy? It's not even the losing. It's that every time I go home, I sit down, I look at my team, and I think, it could have been better. It could have been great. I had a whole plan. But I couldn't keep hold of the mouse. It kept slipping through my wet little fingers. In the second round, I actually fell out of my chair. I mean, the guy was in rough shape. I had to help him out, so I say, Bart, sounds like you're in a rough spot, man. But I gotta ask you, why don't you borrow a toilet? Bart looks confused. Toilet? I go, yeah, you can cool off in the toilet bowl. Team's been asking where you are.
All right, like that, baggers. Commission makes the rules. Unlike previous years, I'm going to have to keep this one short and neat. So here we go. Rivalry week, Mr. Wavy Dave. Mr. Wavy Dave. Did you guys know Mr. Wavy Dave is the only sitting member on the board of directors of the Small Dads Fantasy League? I would say lacking in size in both accounts on the bod front, wouldn't you? Hey, Wavy Dave, suits you well, buddy. Speaking of dads, he is only the second guy I know in history who's raising a crop of youths with the initials SS. I predict his season will end very similarly, in a bunker, wondering where it all went wrong. Sorry, Wavy Dave, see you at the bottom.
Hey, sports fans. Just in the study, cooking up another parlay. Let's talk about Pat. He's angry, he bets a lot, and every time he loses, he bets more to see if he can make back everything he lost. And then he tells us later that he's still up like $40,000. Even though everybody's down in gambling, Pat's up $40,000. Sure. Okay, well, anytime touchdown scorers, we'll do 4. Rashad Bateman, Alexander Madison, Isaiah Likely, Jamar Chase. Bettman, Madison, Likely Chase, plus 16,000. Same odds as both of his kids, sleeping through the night. See you, sports fans. I wrote all that backwards, bitch.